All right. We're live. First live chat season. Welcome y'all. I hope y'all can hear me fine. Just let me know if my mic gets a little bit staticky. That's been an issue lately, but hopefully we're fine. Working with a setup here. So let's just get right into it. Boom. First one. That was just a comment. You can keep given Rich Holmes the relevance in all the leagues as Monte Morris our new rank hacking king. Rank hacking. I mean, he gets us dimes, and that's a useful statistic. I think that he's just kind of a lower end guy. Would I rather have Trey Jones or Monte Morris? I would definitely rather have Trey Jones. I think his skill set is much more enticing. He's higher in the rankings. He's scoring 14.3 points compared to Monte Morris's 9.3. Just 5 fewer assists. And as we all knew, Trey Jones, the defensive numbers, particularly the steals, have been elite. So I would certainly rather have Trey Jones, but Sean Holmes is just a complete non-factor. Is Nick Richards a must-roster player in 12-team leagues? Absolutely. Yeah. Mason Plumlee, I'm not worried about him. It should only be a matter of time until Nick Richards is the guy that's starting and not Plumlee. Charlotte might be a tanking team that may create even more opportunity for Nick Richards over the second half of the season, but he's already given us some really nice flashes, so yes. Between Bull, Mitchell Robinson, and Io, what do I think? Pick two. Okay, so I'm gonna pick Bull and Io. And what do I think about Jalen Williams? I like Jalen Williams' potential. I think it's going to be hard for him to get the minutes he needs early in the season. But look, we already have Josh Giddey and Shea hurt. Unfortunately, Jalen Williams is also hurt. This would be an ideal spot for him to kind of make an early season presence felt. That's not going to happen because he has an orbital fracture. But I think he's a guy that can be relevant later in the year. In 12-team leagues, he's probably a guy that you kind of put on your watch list. In 14-team leagues, he's probably worth stashing. Long-term thoughts on Lauri. Sell high before the tank starts and shoot for someone like Siakam. I'm not sure. I would be fine with selling high on Lauri, but I don't think that he's necessarily going to fall off. This is a guy that I was targeting in a lot of leagues, a guy that I tried to draft everywhere I could. I think that he's going to have a phenomenal season. And hopefully, I mean, it depends when your leagues end, right? If your league ends in late March, it's going to be a little bit more of an issue. I have all my leagues ending kind of early-ish March, I believe. But look, I think that Lauri is all set up for an incredible season. He's been a top 50 player before. I think this will clearly be his best season. He's really allowed to be the main man on that offense. Now, if you can exchange him for someone like Pascal Siakam, for sure, I would do that. And that would be a good example of selling high. But that's the level of player you're going to need to extract. And if no one wants to give you basically that kind of value in return, you just stick with them and you enjoy the ride. What's up with Sengun? Well, limited sample size. I think he'll eventually find his way into that first unit. Bruno Fernando is going to be out for some time. So that opens up opportunity for him. That being said, this is a guy that I was nervous about. I think that there was so much hype that he got drafted basically at his ceiling. I'm not sure that this is a player who's going to be the player that if you were drafting him in round 6, I think you're going to be disappointed. I was always much more fond of Jabari Smith. Now, this is not an opinion that everyone on the staff has. There are certainly some people who would disagree with what I'm saying here, but that's my thoughts on Sengun. Sexton, it's a problem. The problem is that Mike Conley has a really crazy contract. I think he's owed, what is it, like 42 million or something over the next 2 seasons. It's that he has 2 seasons left that's the problem. I feel like if a trade was gonna happen, it would have happened. And Conley isn't exactly lighting it up to give contending teams, reason to try and go get him. So with Mike Conley there, as long as Mike Conley is starting, Colin Sexton's just basically the backup point guard. He should be starting, in my opinion. He should be starting at the 2. But for whatever reason, that's not happening. I still think that Sexton could be an impactful player later in the season, but it's just not going to happen if he's basically Mike Conley's backup. That's the issue. And Isaiah Jackson, tons of potential. We love to see it. It's going to be a little bit up and down, but as we saw, he had 5 blocked shots the other night. I think last night's game was less impressive, and that's just kind of going to be what it is. He'll definitely take a step back when Miles Turner makes his way back to the court, but who knows how long Miles Turner is going to be on that team. Duren or Eason? Easily Duren. No contest. Please rank Oubre, Clarkson, and Hart in your order of preference. Hart, Oubre, Clarkson. My audio's messed up. Fuck. Sorry for cursing. All right, I'm going to try to fix this. This is annoying. All right, here we go. There we go. It should be working. It should be working now. Is it working? Is it working? Just spam the comments if it's working. Do you hear me? Do you hear me? Okay. All right. If it gets staticky again, just let me know. At about what point was it staticky? The whole time? The whole time? What questions do I need to go over again? All right. I'm just going to... Okay. Well, I will continue to check these comments. I think it's this mic, man. I think it's the mic. All right. First 6 minutes were bad. Okay. Real quick. I'm going to try to get through these quick now. I lost 9 minutes, basically. Would I rather roster Monte Morris or Trey Jones? I would rather roster Trey Jones. He does a lot more for you. The steals numbers are elite. Just 0.5 fewer assists than Monte Morris. That's not to say that Monte Morris isn't worth rostering. But yeah. It's Trey Jones. Nick Richards, is he a must roster player? Absolutely, he is a must roster player. Look, Mason Plumlee, I'm not worried about him, okay? It's only going to be a matter of time, I feel, until Nick Richards is starting. Charlotte could be a tanking team this season. We'll see how that plays out. But even so, even right now, I think that he's doing enough to be worth a roster spot. He could certainly work his way into that starting unit. Between Bol, Mitchell Robinson, and Ayo, pick 2. I'm going to pick Bol, and Ayo. And then what do I think about Jalen Williams? I think that Jalen Williams, I love his potential, but and it would be great right now if he wasn't dealing with a fractured orbital, but that's the problem. He's not there right now. I think it'll take him a little bit to get going. But Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander are already missing games. So that's going to create a lot of opportunity for Jalen Williams. Audio's messed up. We're just going to go off my computer audio. That's what we're going to do. Hopefully there's no static off that. I think that I'm dealing with a bad mic. Hopefully that's going to solve the problem. Oh, this is very frustrating. Yeah, I have no idea what's going on, but it's going to be a little bit echoey for the rest of this chat. That's what we're going to have to do. All right. So I was on Jalen Williams. Look, I think that Jalen Williams, I think he has great opportunity. I wish that he was healthy right now with Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander already missing games. But so I think that he's more of a stash. I think that it's going to take him some time to get going. So yeah. Thoughts on Lauri? I think that he's excellent. I think that you could sell high if you could get someone like Pascal Siakam, but I also think that he's just going to have a really good season. I'm not particularly concerned about him getting shut down in Utah. And I think that if you have a league, if you're in a head-to-head league, hopefully your manager has the playoffs ending in like mid-March-ish. If it goes to late March, you're going to have to be a little bit, or if it goes all the way to April, of course we're going to have to be worried about a shutdown. But if it's not at that point, I just think that Lauri's going to have an incredible season. This is a guy you likely picked round 7 or later. That's just something that you kind of stick with and enjoy it. And then the audio's good, right? Audio's fine. Cool. All right. Next question. What's up with Sengun, Sexton, and Isaiah Jackson? Sengun, it's not great that he's not starting right away, right? But the good news here is that Bruno Fernando is expected to miss some time. Sengun missed last game because he's a little bit under the weather. I don't think that he's going to be out that long. And I think with Bruno Fernando not healthy, I mean, that kind of gives the incentive to allow him to start. You know, that's kind of what we thought he was going to do. But I also do think that if you were drafting Sengun in the 6th round, I think that you're going to be disappointed. I'm not sure that he can provide much beyond that. I feel like that might be his ceiling. Okay. Colin Sexton, the problem with him is that Mike Conley has a big contract with 2 years left. And there's not a lot of teams that are willing to take on that contract. It's hard to make the numbers work. And I feel like a trade would have happened if there was a team out there that wanted him at this point. That's the problem. If Colin Sexton is just going to be Mike Conley's backup, he's not going to get enough minutes. Now, they did pay him. I'd expect him to eventually become a larger part of this rotation. That could be as simple as Mike Conley getting hurt, which isn't exactly uncharacteristic of Conley's career. So I would just stick with him, but it's going to be a bumpy ride. Isaiah Jackson, I love him. I think he's great. Massive shot blocking potential. And, you know, it'll be a little bit up and down as we've seen, but we saw that shot blocking potential. And if and when Miles Turner gets traded, that'll be his time to shine. Duren or Eason, it's Duren, it's not close. Please rank Oubre, Clarkson, and Hart in order of preference. It's Hart, Oubre, Clarkson. Who would I rather roster between Kessler, Okongwu, Jaden McDaniels, and Poku? Poku obviously has the most upside, but he's been remarkably disappointing. I'm going to give him tonight with both SGA and Josh Giddey being out. I think that gives him an opportunity to go some point Poku at the center. Now, we'll see if that happens, and if it doesn't happen, I am sending him to the waiver wire. So if it's not Poku, I think Jaden McDaniels. Assuming you mean the Minnesota guy, he's pretty easily the player I'd rather have out of this group. But let's see what Poku can do tonight with two of the OKC main guys hurt. Okay. Yeah, sorry about the mic issues earlier. I think I'm just going to have to buy a new mic, but pleasure to be here. Sexton's making you nervous as you hold. Yeah, I talked about that, but I would hold him for now, but it's gonna be bumpy as long as Conley is there and healthy. Should we be worried about Cam Johnson in a 12-team 9-cat head-to-head league? Yes and no. I'm not sure because he's basically, yes, he's starting. But I think that these are kind of the numbers he's going to give you, minus that terrible shooting 5-point night. You know, it's going to be scoring in the low teens, some dimes, some triples, some steals. I like it. It's late round production. I'm not sure we should expect a ton more than that. So I think that we're just kind of going to get what we get, and what he's showing us is kind of what it's going to be. Grant Williams rest of season. I think he'll be up and down. I think when Time Lord gets back, he might not be worth rostering, but he is. Here's the thing. He didn't come to terms on an extension with Boston, meaning he's going to be a restricted free agent this next summer, meaning he's looking to get paid. That can provide an incentive for guys. And someone like Grant Williams, who's not an obvious max contract player, he needs to show how much he's worth. So I have him on a couple rosters. I'm going to let that bad game the other night slide, and I think that he'll be worth rostering at least until the Time Lord gets back, and who knows when that will happen. Aaron Gordon rest of season. He has played surprisingly well. The defensive numbers still aren't really there. The assists aren't really there. He's basically just scoring, and the rebounds are subpar. I think that once Jamal Murray really comes into form, I think that Aaron Gordon is the guy who's going to take a hit, who's going to take fewer shots. He's just not the most exciting player in fantasy hoops. Derek White, Brooks, or Melton, 12-team 8-cat Roto. I think you put it in the right order. I'd rather have White amongst all those guys. Vanderbilt or Horford? Vanderbilt. Murphy or Aldama? I like Murphy because I think he has better long-term outlook. I think that Aldama isn't going to be worth rostering once JJJ gets back into the mix. Should you keep Dort or take a chance on Jalen Williams? I think I would take a chance on Jalen Williams. Dort's kind of boring. He'll hurt your percentages. Yeah, I think I would rather have Jalen Williams. Who would I drop between Duren, Isaiah Jackson, and Eason? I would drop Eason. I'm just making sure that my audio is still good. Okay, cool. Lots of Jalen McDaniels questions. Oh, sorry. Jalen McDaniels, hold in a 12-team league, needs some stocks. If you're in a deeper 12-team league, one that has larger than 13 roster spots, yeah, he's been doing enough to provide some low-end value. If you only have 13 roster spots, I would suspect that there's someone better on your waiver wire. But yeah, he's kind of providing some low-end value. There's opportunity there with Miles Bridges not around. Yeah. Rather add Zubats or Bol right now? Well, I'll take the starter. I'll take Zubats. But Bol is certainly a guy that is going to be flying off the waiver wire after last night's big game. Precious Achua sustainable even when Scotty Barnes gets back? Absolutely not, no. Cam Johnson or Trey Murphy? I like Trey Murphy a little bit more. Yeah. Andrew Wiggins points and field goal percentage have been gravy. Will the stocks stay? That's no. Are we expecting? No, I don't think so. I do think he can be impactful in those categories. We're not going to see 2.3 steals and 1.3 blocks a night. Maybe it'll be 1.5 steals. That would be nice. 1.5 steals, maybe 0.8 blocks. But I don't think we're going to see. If you can convince someone that he's going to do this all season, that's a clear sell high for me. What kind of turn should I look for with Giddey, needing both field goal percentage and free throw percentage? Well, I mean, obviously now is not the time to trade Josh Giddey. He's hurt. But let's see here. What are you looking for? Field goal percentage and free throw percentage. Those don't often go hand in hand. Let me see if I can find you one. I just don't think it's the right time to trade him, honestly. He'll have some big games, so just wait a little bit. It's not going to work out. Any trade ideas for Jeremy Grant? The problem is that he's scoring. He's not doing a whole lot else. The defensive numbers have kind of been there. The rebounding has been subpar. So let's see here. Maybe you could get Wendell Carter Jr. Maybe. Maybe Gordon Hayward, but I would almost rather have Jeremy Grant. Gary Trent Jr., that could work. Maybe Jeremy Grant +1 for Jalen Smith. Those are options. Okay. Let's see, where am I? Audio issues on the first chat of the season was not a great start. Okay. Grant Williams and Aaron Gordon rest of season. I think both guys will get worse over the second half. I like Grant Williams better between the two. Yeah. Thoughts on Precious? He's great when Scotty Barnes is missing in action or someone is missing that allows him to start. I don't think he's all that attractive in a reserve role. Should we be worried about Sabonis? Well, yes, I think. I was worried about him before the season started, as was Zach Hanshu. He was one of the guys who kind of got me off of the Sabonis train. His free throws are bad. We already knew that. His assist numbers, I seriously doubt will be very good on a team with so many playmakers, on a team with De'Aaron Fox, on a team with Keegan Murray. He's not going to give you a whole lot of defensive stats. So, yeah, I think you should be concerned. Would I trade Ant-Man for Ja or DeJounte if possible? Yeah, I would trade Ant-Man for Ja. If you can do that. DeJounte is great. He just makes less sense on your team since you're punting. So I think Ja is a better guy to go after. Remain patient with Joshua Primo. I wouldn't. No. I mean, you'd have to be in a really, really deep league for that to be worth it, in my opinion. He's extremely young. I don't think this is the season he's going to be fantasy relevant. And there's a lot of good free agents out there. So Nick Richards, a long-term ad in 12-team leagues. Absolutely. How would I rank these streamers? Powell, I believe, with Paul George out. Nance with Herb Jones, Zion, and BI out. Or Man in OKC with SGA and Josh Giddey out. I would go Nance, Powell, Man. Man, he doesn't really do much aside from score and hit triples. He's certainly going to get a ton of opportunity tonight. Nance, I just am a sucker for defensive stats, and he's kind of capable of providing really nice value when he's at least able to get to 25 minutes. You shouldn't have any trouble doing that tonight. Just kind of an all-around player. Powell, I like him, especially with Paul George out. That'll provide more opportunity. Kawhi Leonard is not ready to just step in when Paul George is out and be that guy. So Powell's going to get a chance. But again, I would go Nance, Powell, Man. Who would I drop between Duren, Isaiah Jackson, and Eason? I would drop Eason. Does Brody's improved free throw percentage and lower turnovers give me any cause for optimism? No. No, not at all. Have you seen him play?
It's terrible. It's the Russell Westbrook that has been playing for his entire career. Did you see him take the 2-for-1 opportunity with the Lakers up against Portland in about 10 seconds left and they went on to lose the game? No. I'm not sure where he can get traded and it'll be better. It's going to be bad. It's just awful to have him on your team. Unless you're in a points league, Russell Westbrook is not fun to roster. Isaiah Jackson still worth a hold in 12-team leagues? I would say yes. There's very few players who can give you 5 shot blocks in a single night. You have to think towards the second half with Isaiah Jackson. Was Bruno Fernando a one-hit wonder? Possibly. I mean, look, this is a guy with immense shot blocking potential, and if he's able to start on this tanking Houston team, he could maybe have some low-end value. But the problem is he's out with knee soreness for a while. That gives me concern. I wouldn't be clinging to him. If you don't have an IL spot available, I wouldn't be holding on. But we'll see what happens when he gets back from that injury. Grimes worth a pickup in a 14-team Roto league. He's been extremely limited in practice. He's still not cleared for contact. He's not going through 5-on-5 work. If you want to stash him in an IL spot, that's fine. But I'm not expecting him to be back soon. So if he's taken up an active roster position, no. Mathurin or Hartenstein? Benny Mathurin. Thoughts on Zion? He hasn't, gotten off to a otherworldly start, but he's still scoring 22 points, 6.7 boards, 2.3 dimes, 2 steals, 0.7 blocks. I really like those defensive numbers. I think that he's capable of providing defensive numbers. He did it in college. So if this can be the year that he finally brings that asset to the table, I think that he can be incredible. And he's kind of hitting his free throws. So maybe that's another improvement area for him. I like him. Drafted Time Lord with the 115th pick. Is he worth a stash? Yes, he is worth a stash. When will he be back? We don't really know. Maybe January, but absolutely you need to have that guy stashed. What do you think about Poku this year? I was briefly on the bandwagon during the preseason. I am fully off now. Now like I said, let's see what he can do tonight. Let's see if we can get some point Poku with both Josh Giddey and Shai Gilgeous-Alexander missing in action. But I don't like that it's taking those two going down for him to be maybe relevant. He still hasn't given us anything. So not happy, not pleased. If he doesn't put up a good stat line tonight, I am going to be sending him to the waiver wire. Atlanta Bogdanovich, I believe he remains without a timetable. This is another guy where, if you have an open IL spot, sure. But I wouldn't have him taking up an active roster position. And I don't know how good he'll be this season with the addition of DeJounte Murray. Please rank Bol, Walker Kessler, and Isaiah Jackson. I'll go Isaiah Jackson, Bol, and Walker Kessler. Will Norman Powell pick it up? He's been really bad. I drafted him in 11th round in a head-to-head 14-team points league. There's not really any guarantees he'll pick it up. He already has opportunity now with Kawhi Leonard being limited, and he's not making use of that. So I'm not sure that he'll be all that impactful. I think he's just going to kind of be a late round guy. In a points league, he's that much less attractive. So you got him in the 11th round. It's not like you made a huge investment. If you feel there's a better free agent on the waiver wire, I wouldn't I would probably grab the hot waiver wire pickup, depending on who that is. Would I keep both Sengun and Fernando? I'd definitely keep Sengun. I'm not keeping Fernando unless I have an IL spot. Also, for some assists and defensive stats, is it worth for you to trade Anthony Simons for Trey Jones? I think that's reasonable. Yeah. Can Bol earn a 20-minute role? Yeah, I think he can. I think Bol is a guy that you should go grab right now. Let's see if he can finally put it all together. He has immense potential. Is De'Aaron Fox a good PG? I think so, yeah. In terms of fantasy hoops, absolutely. Who's back first, Time Lord or JJJ? I think it's going to be JJJ. Can Grizz coach training staff be trusted? Not in terms of like letting us know when a player will be back. We won't know probably until the day of that JJJ is about to be back. The problem with JJJ's injury is there's a high risk of a setback if a player is brought back too soon. But it seems like his recovery is going well. It seems like he's ahead of schedule. These are good things. So, in turn, I guess yes. I think that JJJ is going to have a good season. I think if you took a swing on him late, basically no risk, all upside. What do I think about Kevin Love? He's completely off my radar. I don't think that he'll be impactful down the stretch. Clarkson or Murphy? Absolutely Murphy. Drafted Ben Simmons with a 5th-round pick in a points league. Should we expect him to improve a lot? Yeah, I mean, it can't get any worse than it is right now, I feel. I feel that he can only go up from here, so. Yeah, go get Bol, drop Portis, keep Brolo. Brolo's playing really well. Do I expect Kessler to eventually take over the starting role over Kelly Olynyk? Maybe if Utah is completely just, Utah's won 3 of their first. Did they play last night? I don't know. They've won 3 games at least. If Utah is somehow a competitive team, I don't think that happens. If they're abysmal, then yeah, I could definitely see Jared Vanderbilt shifting to the 4. Maybe Walker Kessler starts, but I think it's just going to take so long for us to get there. I'm not willing to stash Kessler. Like, unless your team is absolutely loaded, or you're in like a 14 or greater league, I think that you can kind of watch the situation develop from the waiver wire. Who should I offer for Clay in a 14-team Roto league? Well, you can pretty much offer in the rankings right now, he's 188. So you should be able to get him for pretty much, let's say your fourth worst player. It's hard for me to tell you who to offer. I have no idea who's on your team. Okay. Lost my spot. Is the lunch lady worth keeping now? Sure. He's playing pretty well, isn't he? I guess I'll take that L. I'll take that L until the second half when he gets shut down. Do I see Bamba having value in Dynasty? Yeah. I mean, he's in a terrible situation now, but he should be traded at some point or something will happen. You know, he's shown us his upside. He just needs to be on a different team. So in a Dynasty, absolutely. Yeah. Jalen Duren or Bol Bol. I like Duren better. Would I trade Ant-Man and Ja for LaMelo? Wait. Oh, would I trade Ant-Man for Ja, LaMelo, or DeJounte? Sure. All those guys are in a similar range. I feel like LaMelo, you might not even have to give up Ant-Man at the moment. Would I trade Shea for Anthony Edwards in a points league? Absolutely. Yeah. What are the chances of these players turning around their free throw percentage? Spicy P, let's say 50-50. KPJ, 40-60. Ja, 50-50. Simons was a great late round pick. He's turning it up this season. Had a really nice game last night, 29.7 triples, 5 dimes. He's come away with a steal in every game. I think that's one of the most important aspects of what he's doing this season. If he can consistently bring steals to the stat sheet, in addition to his dimes and his scoring and his points, that's really going to help increase his floor. I think he's set up for a phenomenal season. Kessler or Bol Bol? I would much rather have Bol Bol. Are you trolling me? Is this a rehash of last season's troll? No, he's not. No, he's not. No, he's not. I have Jonathan Isaac in an IL because why not, right? I have it available. If injuries start mounting, I will send him to. It is absolutely insane that we still have no idea when Jonathan Isaac will get. No one has taken this long to recover from an ACL tear. No one. It's wild. It's wild. MPJ or Brunson? I'll go with MPJ. Where did I go? Where am I? Here I am. Zach Collins now. Meh. Rest of season, he needs Pirtle to get traded to like be a relevant name in fantasy hoops. I don't really see it. It just looks like a shot blocking specialist to me. Can Jared Vanderbilt do this all season long? Yeah, I think he can. I think this is his breakout year. Thoughts on Wiseman being a sleeper? I cut him where I drafted him. He's not going to get the minutes he needs on this contending Golden State team. Kevon Looney is the starting center. Dre gets some minutes at center. He needs an injury in order to really realize his potential. Kerr is still saying he needs to find a role. It's just a whole lot of not good. Should I hold or sell high on Vanderbilt? I wouldn't be opposed to selling high, considering this is a guy that you probably got close to the last round. I am always fine with taking someone who you got in like round 8 or later, who is a hit, and you try to get the value of a more proven player, right? I do think that Jared Vanderbilt's going to have a solid year. I think that he'll be on winning teams. But the tanking factor is always there, right? Like if he gets shut down or if something happens, you know, he does not have a long history of being that dude that he is right now. So I'm always fine with selling high on this, but just make sure you're getting the proper return. And if someone's not willing to give you what Vanderbilt is worth, which right now is top 50 value, so if you're not able to get someone like Jalen Green or something or KP, just stick with them. More likely to break out this season, Trey Murphy or Jaden McDaniels? Well, Jaden is starting. I think that Trey Murphy is certainly more exciting. You know what? Trey Murphy. Let's go. Trey Murphy season. Hate is a strong word. Maybe accurate, though. Add Nick Richards, drop Olenek. You have to have someone worse than Olenek. If that's your worst player, maybe just stick with that lunch lady. SGA has been upgraded to questionable. Thank you. I did not know this. That would be great. Man, it's been it's like I know it's only 4 games, 5 games. He looked incredible for those first 2, sat out a back-to-back, and then I thought he was going to miss tonight's game. So it looks like there's a chance he'll play. That would be amazing. If he plays, man, that's Poku. There's pretty much been no updates on Lonzo Ball. There's fears that he might not play at all this season. So have him in the IL, but, you know, don't expect much. JJJ's on the waiver wire in a 14-team no IR, that's why. Is he worth a stash? Yeah, I think so. I think so. Because it's a Roto league. The people on your bench, you can just keep them there. So yes, go get him. Go get him right now. Thoughts on rostering 3 players from the same team, Ant-Man, D'Angelo, Gobert? I don't have a problem with it. It's fine. Those are 3 really good players. Cole Anthony rest of season when Fultz is back. What is the rotation like? Cole Anthony is not the most exciting guy because he doesn't score efficiently. He'll be great until Fultz gets back. When Fultz gets back, that's when we're going to have a problem. I think that Fultz is capable of providing value even in a reserve role, and he's probably going to be in a reserve role considering he missed most of – when was that injury? Was it training camp or the preseason? Either way, it basically allowed Cole to start. Now, maybe Fultz can take back the starting role later in the season. I think that Fultz is the better point guard between the two. I would have Fultz in an IL if I had an IL available. We don't really know when Fultz will be back, but I think Fultz is the guy I want. Cole Anthony is fine to have right now. I'm not sure he's going to be that good when Fultz makes it back to the court. I answered that one. Oladipo worth a stash in a deep league? Sure. If you have an IL available, sure. But I mean, he's going to come off the bench behind Tyler Herro, so that's probably about 25 minutes, and that's probably just kind of late round value. Is Mathurin a sell high guy or a strong hold? I think he's a strong hold. He's given us a lot through these first games. I know the last game wasn't all that great, but he's shown us some great flashes. Indiana is clearly tanking. I think that he'll start at some point. Isn't he already starting? I feel like he's already starting. Either way, I like him. Please don't. Guys, I'm being trolled right now. So like, if you see this in the chat, just know we have no idea when Jonathan Isaac is going to be back. Is Garland going to put up last year's production even with Mitchell in town? Yeah, I think he can. I'm not particularly worried. I think that his assist numbers will be off the charts. He's a really good point guard. I think that he'll figure it out. I think that we sometimes get a little bit too concerned when a high usage player joins the team. But Garland is clearly I would say, is he the 2 or the 3? Is he the second or third option? I think he's the second option. I think that Evan Mobley is the third option. So I think that he'll be pretty much fine. We've seen these backcourts be successful. Dame, CJ, 2 guys can be successful next to each other in a backcourt. And Garland is just an incredibly talented player. Drop Kessler, probably. What would be my criteria for trading first-round players such as Jokic? I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it this early in the season. Trading your first-round player is something you do, maybe a quarter of the way through the season and you feel like your team isn't that great, but maybe with some improved depth, you'd be good. Jokic is like a 3-for-1 kind of trade. This is a guy but I think any first rounder, I'm not really trading. I feel like you can get to the point you want to be without trading your best player. Should I use number 2 waiver claim on Cole Anthony in a points league? Yeah, kind of. Cole Anthony's value is significantly improved in a points league. He might be able to even keep up his production in a points league when the team is completely healthy. So, should you offer RJ Barrett for Hero? Sure. I mean, I wouldn't take that if I had Hero, but there's nothing wrong with it. All right, I'm almost done with the questions. I am sorry again about the audio issues at the beginning of this. I'm going to burn this mic tonight. It's giving me so much trouble. Where was I? Is Eason a drop with Tate coming back? Depends on the size of your league. Maybe. But if you drafted Eason, I think that you did so. You should have done so with understanding that it could be a while. There's just so many forwards on this team. I think that it kind of will take Eric Gordon being traded for him to pop. I don't think that that's impossible. I believe that Eric Gordon is on an expiring deal. You can fact check me on that, but I'm pretty sure that's right. It depends on who's available on the waiver wire. Jalen Smith or PJ Washington? Jalen Smith. I feel like that's a no contest. I'm going to skip that question. Do I think Evan Mobley's stats will improve? Absolutely. He's gotten off to a slow start, but let's not panic. It's very early in the season. He showed us so much his rookie year. Sometimes guys have a sophomore slump. If anything, I would view him as a solid buy low guy. Buy low situation on Anthony Edwards. Yeah. The problem is just, I mean, I don't think that he's going to shoot 43% for the season. he had those 2 30-point games, and then he followed it up with that 9-point stinker, but at least he had the 10 boards. The boards have been nice. The defensive numbers haven't really been there, and the turnovers are up. Look, Minnesota added a big-time player, and Rudy Gobert is going to take them a little bit to gel. I think that this is a solid buy low opportunity on the Ant-Man. Drop Lou Dort for Bol Bol. Yeah, I think there's more upside in Bol Bol. Here's an interesting one. Christian Wood to get Karl Anthony Towns and Sexton, a no-brainer. Cat owner is desperately trying to get rid of him. Yeah, I think that's a pretty darn good deal. Christian Wood is playing well. He's in a reserve role, and he's a really bad free throw shooter. That's just the reality. Karl Anthony Towns can kind of only go up from here. And if you're getting Sexton as a backup, I like that trade for you. You're basically trading someone who you drafted round 6 for a first-round player +1. I'll take that deal and the better free throw shooting and the potential of Sexton turning it on late. Am I worried about Mobley? No, I think he'll be fine. Buy low opportunity. Ooh, Jabari Smith or Keegan Murray rest of season. That is a tough one. I'll go with the starter, my guy, Jabari Smith. I got him pretty much everywhere. I'm very happy with what he's done for me. This limited sample size has been very encouraging. I also love what I see from Keegan Murray. I think they're both going to be excellent, but I'll go with Jabari Smith. Drop Brandon Clark for Bol Bol. Yeah. Projections on where Cade finishes this season. Top 30. I think it's more like top 50 if you're punting turnovers. Maybe top 40. I feel like top 30 to top 20 might be a little bit of a reach, particularly with how good Jaden Ivey has been, and that's taken away a little bit of Cade's playmaking opportunities. Getting flooded with Zion offers. Latest was Franz and Jeremy Grant. I would rather have Zion. Seems like that's a good buy low. All right, this will be the final question of the first chat of the season. Again, hopefully it'll be smoother going from here on out. I appreciate if you stuck with me through the tech difficulties early on. That won't be an issue anymore. That's my promise to y'all. Precious, Achua, or Trey Murphy? I'm going to go with Trey Murphy. I think that this is a guy who could have a monster, maybe not a monster season, but a really good season. We were all very high on Trey Murphy his rookie year, and he just wasn't able to get the minutes. But he is getting the minutes now. He's an excellent two-way player. He's an excellent shooter. He's a solid rebounder. There is so much to like about Trey Murphy's game. Now, that's not a knock on Precious Achua. If Precious Achua was on another team starting, he would probably be putting up great numbers. But both guys are locked into a six-man role, and Trey Murphy is, in my opinion, more capable of producing in that role. All right, that's going to do it. Thanks for sticking around. Thanks for coming. It's going to be Zach Hanchu next week. We're going to be alternating these chats. Love doing them. Great talking to y'all, and I will see you again in 2 weeks. Adios.